Hi, I'm Allison DuBois, and this is Tom McMullen. Today, we're going to talk about what to look for in the next 6 months. So, Tom, there's a lot to unpack here, right?
Yes, there is.
Oh, it's been a year, hasn't it?
So far.
So, we had talked about in the beginning of the year, virus hitting in March, a big virus hitting in March, and new businesses, that it would be a good year to start a new business. So laying on top of it, COVID-19, the virus was very accurate, by the way, kudos on that. I think it's important to point out that no astrologer in our lifetime has seen a pandemic.
Right.
So to say it's going to be a big virus and to batten down the hatches or to be prepared is as good as it was going to get.
Right.
So for people that say, why didn't you say it was a pandemic? Nobody could.
Nobody could.
So
yeah,
that's been addressed. And then new businesses, I think this year in new businesses was one of the aspects that was looked at. And I actually know a lot of people that are starting new businesses now. So I know some people see it as bad, but it's a change of business or a change of how you do business.
Well, we're being forced to. I mean,
Right.
The pandemic has changed the system dramatically around the world. Obviously, it's a world pandemic. So it's global, but in our own country, in terms of, we are such an economically driven country.
Right.
So,
Powerhouse.
it destroyed it. In any way we've been dealing with it. And it was so interesting how the lower end workers go to the top of the chain in terms of importance.
Right.
And then people that were important go down to the bottom, except for obviously, doctors, nurses,
so
and
skilled workers.
Yeah, skilled
this would
workers.
be a good time to be a skilled worker.
Yeah.
So all kids
Yeah.
don't have to go to college.
Yeah.
It's good to know. So moving forward, I think you're going to see just a lot more people working from home. I don't think that's going to change, especially with some of the projections that you've seen. I think that's a good thing. As long as you don't have small children at home, it's doable. Right. I'm an Aquarius, so I like working from home because I want my space. And looks like we have quite a few aspects coming up that we'll talk about first and then go into how Aquarius will enter the picture. So Mars and Aries, you were talking about?
Yes, Mars and Aries, as of the 27th of this month, just a few days ago, Mars went into its own sign of Aries. Okay. Now Mars, changes signs frequently, but again, when it's in its own sign, it's usually like
it's exalted, right? Is that called
It's exalted, yes. And I'll give the energy of Mars and Aries in a minute, just giving you the time frame. Mars going into its own sign, but then it will retrograde and then go back forward again in its sign for 6 months. Now, the last time Mars went retrograde in its own sign was 1988. It rarely goes into its own sign.
Wow.
And so the next time will be 2067. So it seems significant that during the time we're experiencing right now, that Mars, the action planet, the warrior's planet in its own sign of Aries, is in a place of where it's going to be very, very strong in its influence on us in terms of what we're looking at as a revolutionary change of our world and our societies.
Was 88 the wall, like right before the wall came down, the Berlin Wall, and we started Desert Storm, I think, had started percolating around that time.
Yes.
So I was just trying to, in my mind, think of, okay, what happened in 88?
Yeah.
I was
It's not nearly as
16.
significant as this one, because Mars will make its hard aspects to the conjunctions of the big planets of Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter during the course of this time, which creates a huge challenge to our social systems in terms of conflict. And we already know that this is going on. So it's just the next 6 months, it's rock and roll. So Mars in Aries. Aries is the sign, and Mars is the ruler of, it's the fire, right? The warrior.
Mars is how you act and react.
It's active, and it is reactive,
right.
You see, and it's impatient, and it's independent. And it's so interesting that, at this time, people want to be independent, doing what they want to do, and they're being restricted because of all the Capricorn energy that's been going on, and saying, I don't want to wear a mask, or I don't want to be stuck at home. I want to go out and do what I want to do. And it's already playing out. It's just going to get more and more that way.
There's a lot of temper tantrums going on
Yes.
right now.
Yes, but it's to start new things. It's the beginning of the year, Aries, the very first sign. It's the initiator, and it's the one who wants to start something new. And so we're moving toward systems that are crumbling and collapsing, and the systems of whether they're government or their businesses or their finances. It's about, if it's not working out, then we're going to start something new to replace it with. And this is the time we'll start figuring that out.
Sure.
Change direction, yes.
I just started working on recording a podcast, so that was new for me.
That's new
so
for you.
It doesn't have to be a bad thing. New businesses means you're going to have to find a way to succeed.
Yes.
And that's just life in general, but I don't see the way the businesses are starting to roll as bad, because I think it's setting us up for something bigger. For
Innovative.
Individually,
Yes.
more innovative, sure.
But a lot of the systems, we look at the educational systems, the kids can't go to school. So if this continues for a while, are we going to change the educational system because of that? You know, we have everything's moving online now and has been for the last 20 years. And it seems to be going faster and faster, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Mars put the foot on the gas, essentially, and will for the next 6 months. The interesting thing is it goes retrograde on September 9th through the 13th of November.
Right.
Which means that, you know, this is where you can take action, but then you need to take responsibility for your action, because there's going to be a reflective time on the things that you do now, based on when we get into the beginning of September, going, what are those consequences?
It forces responsibility.
It forces responsibility.
In the Sun in Libra, because we will be in a Sun in Libra at that time, how does that play out with the Sun and Mars opposing each other?
Well, again, their energies are to work together. So, you know, Mars is action and, you know, to fight for something, and then Libra's justice.
Yes.
So,
well, which is a struggle we're already starting to see go on. So maybe there will be more of a spotlight on solutions at that time.
That's what we're going to find out. But we're also in the middle of a massive election year at the same time. And we have these two extremes that are very much at war with each other, with the majority of us somewhere in the middle trying to figure this out and not concentrate on the extremes. And so, you know, the time of reflection will be September to the election, to where it's like, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? Who do I want as my leader? Who do I feel is, you know, gives me permission to be and to do what I want with my life, the way it works. And that you'll have your rebellious, you know, we may see a lot of action in the streets through this election. It's probably going to happen. It's unfortunate, but there's two extremes, and they're going to.
Well, and that's why people are running to the gun stores and buying ammunition, because you know, there's certain states that don't take kindly to people marching in the streets.
Well, and then again,
in that aggressive
people
manner.
start using their guns, or they're starting to, you know, create, you know.
Well, that's Aries. I mean, weaponry, anything to fight with.
But there'll be consequences.
There will be consequences. Absolutely. So I know that sounds like so much fun. Yay! But right now we're in Sun and Cancer. So right now, at least we have that water aspect cooling things down. Families at the forefront, mothers, and being able to enjoy each other. Food.
Well, the interesting, I mean, we are in Cancer. We have an eclipse on Saturday on the 4th of July.
Oh, really?
And which again, it's interesting that, you know, our country was born in the sign of Cancer, and we mother the world, and we're very about security, and finances in our country are very Cancerian energies. And it's the most patriotic day when we become a family as a country on 4th of July. But the eclipse is, the moon's in Capricorn covering the sun in Cancer. So it's going to be kind of a dad energy more than a mom energy.
I'm aware of that, because the 4th of July is our youngest daughter's birthday. And I look to see that it is a full moon in Capricorn physically opposing her. So she's turning 21. One can interpret as they may how that would oppose her. So Aries makes a hard aspect to Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter in retrograde. Did we go over that already?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, especially when Mars makes an aspect to Saturn in Capricorn. This is the energy, and some people have this natally in their charts, and it's a very frustrating energy, because it's like having your foot on the gas and your other foot on the brake. And so it's like, you know, trying to ease up on one and push down on the other. And it's a tough energy, but what it really means is controlled discipline. So taking that Mars energy, taking that Aries energy, and controlling it and focusing it to build something. So if you're in this period of time, this year, from here forward, if you're wanting to start something, this is a great time to focus and build and commit to it rather than be scattered and all over the place. And know your timing, figure out your timing. There's times to move and other times not to.
Right.
So it's like, for us right now, there's times when you go out, wear a mask, and when you come home, take it off. I mean, it's like,
wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Always wash your hands.
Do whatever you have to do, but it doesn't limit your freedom, essentially.
It doesn't have to, because your spirit's inside of you. And I hope that people, when I get stressed or things seem overwhelming, first of all, turn off the news. If people are stuck to the TV watching the news all the time, it's going to change again tomorrow anyways.
Yeah, we'll be screaming at the TV for 6 months. Yeah.
So don't. Watch something Dead to Me. That's a good show. We watched that.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Was it Upload? We watched Upload. That was good. So there's some shows that you can escape, and I think people are looking for escapism right now.
Well,
with all the stress.
Even if you're not escaping and you want to work on a project, focus on the project.
Sure.
If you own a restaurant and it's been decimated or whatever, do I want to go back into this industry? Do I want to go in a different version of this industry?
Right.
This is where we should all be thinking and reflecting. If it's not working, how do I tweak it to make it work and still get what I want in my life?
Innovation.
So
we were going to talk about December 21st of this year because there's some pretty big aspects going on, but I think there's so much historical value to it that will actually film its own segment. So
probably a good idea.
People can tune in for that on the next episode.
Okay.
So we'll just go into 2021, just a kind of energy of the beginning of the year, what people can expect after the holidays.
Well, I do believe because of everything that we're going to go through, it won't look like anything we thought it was going to look like, essentially.
Right.
So, the unknown is still the unknown. But one of the things if I had to predict something based on all the signatures of what I'm seeing moving forward, we'll probably have a vaccine at that time. Probably very much at the end of this year, beginning of next year. When they said it could be a year and a half, I get it more of a year, and we're like, we'd like it tomorrow, obviously, but I think we'll start abating and finding things that will help us through this pandemic, so we can start concentrating.
I think they're going to have a couple of options before December hits, and then they'll just maybe have a better vaccine in December. But I think they're going to actually have a couple of options before then that might buy us some time.
Yeah,
I don't know. So yes, hopefully. So. Change of systems in 2021. Everything changes.
Well, we're going to have another government again, so because it's an election year and it will turn over in January. Senators,
congressmen, everything. Yes. And then you were talking about how we had learned so much about ourselves in 2020 and being able to be introspective. And in 2021, moving forward, should we have some answers to the questions that we asked ourselves?
Yeah, because when we can take the emphasis off the virus and the pandemic and get back to what we want our lives to start looking like based on what we learned through this, especially last 6 months of this year, that should give us an indication. So
Yeah, I'm sure that's very accurate. So going forward in 2021, there's some big aspects moving into it, which we're going to talk about in our next episode. But 2021 in general has a lot of Aquarius overtones to it, which is innovation.
Yes.
It can also be the gypsy, as you put it.
Yeah.
I am Aquarius, so I see Aquarius through kind of shaded eyes.
You're subjective to it. Yes, you are. Yes.
But it tends to be more isolationist because we don't like people in our personal space.
Yeah.
So the overtone for 2021, people are going to still be spending more time at home. I think some people just have learned that they like being at home and not having screaming people or children or people that are hard of hearing and screaming at having a conversation. You don't have them interrupting your dinner that you go out to relax and enjoy.
Well, let's just take that concept and apply it to the media and the news. Let's say maybe we just get quiet on the whole front of everything that we're going through now until then and go, okay, we're done with it all. Can we just all settle down and move on with our lives?
Yes, that would be nice.
Would that be nice? Yes.
A little peace on earth would be good. Aquarius is also ahead of her time. So moving forward, that is the innovation. But with Aquarius being ahead of her time, we'll be creating new things that we wouldn't have created except for the pandemic coming along that accidentally got created.
But the pandemic destroyed systems that we didn't think would ever be destroyed.
Maybe it destroyed some systems that we didn't need anymore.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the reflection on looking at the systems differently, going, I really wasn't using this, I really didn't need this, so why am I putting so much emphasis on it?
Like encyclopedias.
Just phone books. Okay, all right, let's go down the list. Yeah,
they finally stopped. Did they stop printing them? I haven't gotten one. I don't know. But okay, well, thank you, Tom, for coming in to talk about the next 6 months moving forward and then into 2021. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of change and people just need to buckle up and stay focused. And don't let your temper get the best of you. Think things through. Think before you act.
Yes, and try not to react in the moment, which is an Aries energy.
Right.
And so if you feel getting angry, you feel like you want to scream at somebody in your family, step back, let your emotion talk to you and say, this is really upsetting me, and just understand the consequences when you do it. Because you create less of a conflict if you pay attention.
Maybe they need like a swear journal where they could go up into their room and just write down all the things that made them mad and just leave the energy there in the book and walk away. Because people need an outlet for that. Go lift weights. Go do something constructive. Don't become destructive.
That's just it, because Aries is a force. So if you're forcing yourself on someone else's force, that's never a good outcome. Because someone's now going to be defensive and you're going to be aggressive, and we know the outcome.
But people will have aggressive tendencies.
Yes, they will have aggressive tendencies.
I think staying inside actually is better because you're not around those people that are going to have aggressive tendencies.
Being a Libra, I don't like conflict, so I'm sticking at home.
And some people force conflict.
Yes.
We've all come across them, and they scare the hell out of us because they force the conflict, especially with mental health issues, forcing conflict. So sounds like an in-your-face kind of energy that can do some good, because sometimes you got to tear down that old building to build something new for the future. And hopefully we'll see more positive going forward. But as you've said with astrology, it's how people decide to live it. It's the choices they make. It's not the planets dictating. It's just this is the energy you'll be feeling. What you do with it's up to you.
Well, and again, force your energy for yourself, not to somebody else. If you're in a bad relationship and a bad marriage, it has a great chance of dissolving through this, because that's if you're in a job where there's conflict and this is going on and you're not happy, don't go in and shoot everybody because you're pissed off. I mean, these are like the energies that we're dealing with. Reflect on it and go, what do I need to do to get myself out of the situation, rather than force yourself worse off in it and make it as more conflict that it needs to be.
That's good advice. And I am a Mars and Aries natally in my chart, and I can tell you, watch driving on the road, because Mars and Aries makes you want to drive fast.
Don't drive when you're angry.
Don't drive when you're angry. That's good advice too. And watch road rage.
Yes.
That's all a part of that whole triangulation.
Well, I have Mars in Libra, the opposite sign of you, and so I avoid road rage at all costs.
I know. I'm always in a hurry. I just want to get where I'm going, So, well, thank you. So thank you for coming in and talking with me and giving me some insight into what to expect and how to best plan for my own reactions and my own projects that I'm working on. That's really why we do this.
That's right.
So people can feel the energy and see how to best apply it to their lives. And stay away from family you don't like, because it's not going to end well. So until next time, I'm Allison.
And I'm Tom.
Thanks for joining us.